Hello, everyone. Hi, Carthage. Can everyone hear me? It's so really great to be here today, and I'm just struck by the hospitality of Hoyt for even allowing me to be introduced to his college, quite honestly. And I'm thankful for his friendship as well as his mentorship, and definitely to President Swallow for the complete hospitality that he's given from last night to today. I'm really excited about growing a new friendship. So Hoyt was telling me saying all the, wonderful things around, the facts about who I am. But at the end of the day, I think that's not, those are just the facts, but that's on the resume, but that's not actually who I am. The person that I am is that I'm a farm boy who grew up on a dirt road in Virginia. That now lives in Manhattan. So there's a big trajectory from being on a dirt road to living in Manhattan. I'm a gay black man that has a white husband, and we've been together for 23 years, and there has been some, learnings on both sides of that. I'm crazy about cooking, traveling, and going to the gym. But the most important thing for me is that I'm comfortable in my own skin. And that's a journey that a lot of people take, and some people don't even make that journey, which means more to me than anything. There are two things that I think about when I give speeches to an audience. I kind of channel one, my grandmother, because I remember at one point, she always said, say what you got to say and get off the stage. She would tell that to our local minister when he would go a little bit long. Say what you got to say and get off the stage, because she had a roasting oven and everyone got something else to do. And then two is talk in plain speak. So if you can't explain what you're saying in the frozen food aisle of Walmart, you maybe have missed the point. So let's get started. So what in the world do I do? When I was in college, I didn't wake up talking about I wanted to be a chief inclusion officer. I had no idea the role even existed, quite honestly. But at the end of the day, I work with business leaders around the world to make sure that they're thinking about how to find and retain the best and brightest talent. And we all know that that best and brightest talent comes in many different shapes and sizes and colors and different wrappings. And we know that the best doesn't just come in one wrapping. The best doesn't come in one wrapping. And in order for organizations to attract that talent, what they need to do is create an environment where that talent actually wants to be there, where everyone feels that they are welcome, they are valued, and they are respected, and their voice actually matters. No one group is better than the other, but I do know that historically some groups have been left out of the equation fully, or overlooked for opportunities, promotions, and even being seen as top talent. So my role, again, is to help solve for those gaps around the world. And if they don't, within organizations, they would be hurting themselves from attracting that best talent to get the best results, and then potentially leaving money on the table because they don't have an understanding of the market segments that they're going after. So in my time of being in many senior leadership meetings since the time of being with Hoyt, it's kind of interesting. My life has completely changed since I was at Starwood in many ways. But being in boardrooms and senior leadership meetings, there are two things that I've noticed. Either they say it or they don't explicitly, is that whatever you're doing, is it helping to support my business strategy? Or is it helping to increase collaboration and engagement with my employees? And if the answer is no, you really are irrelevant. If it's not supporting the business, and it's not helping to help collaboration or engagement, literally the work is irrelevant. And sometimes people don't tell you that, and they'll do the smile and the nod, and they'll shake their head. But if those two things don't happen, it's mostly irrelevant to the company. My thinking around diversity and inclusion has evolved over the years of how I define it. Diversity, for me right now, that I think is the most contemporary view of it, is all the things that make us both similar as well as different. There are things you can see about people and things you can't see about people. None of us are a carbon copy of each other, and so forth. We are all diverse. In your efforts to be diverse and inclusive, you can't leave people out of the equation. So I must make it clear that this isn't a us versus them exercise, where you only focus on those people over there, the black folks, the gay folks, the persons with disability folks. White straight men cannot be left out of the equation either. So at the end of the day, we must also try to make sure that everyone's voice is valued, respected, and heard around the table. But first, everyone needs to be at the table, and in some cases know that a table exists. But I do want to make it clear that many communities are at different starting points when it comes to access, which must be taken into account. So the next time you see your boss or your professor or your CEO staring off in the distance, ask yourself, is this all you got? And remember the comments that I just made. So as an organization, as I said, we're focusing on one or two things and making sure that they make sense. We landed on inclusion, education, and awareness, as well as ensuring that everyone in the organization has the opportunity to reach their greatest opportunities within the company. So we wanted it broad enough to have many different things that you could put under it. But if you had a sound bite and someone was interviewing you, you can't rattle off 20 different things that you're working on. The global piece of this, and I'll finish very shortly around this piece, is around, when we go out globally, we have different regions. So we have an AP region or Asia Pacific region, Latin America, Europe, or North America. And what we do is make, in MEA region, what I do is go back and give the cuts of this data, and I sit with the presidents of the regions and say, based on the cut of the data, where do you want to focus your efforts? So even though we're focused on those two big buckets, it might show up differently of how we might attack or make progress within each of the regions that are relevant to the region, and not just a spray as a one-size-fits-all approach where everyone's doing the same thing and they're really not invested because they're like, I don't see how this is going to help or move anything for me. When I think about at a university, some of the things that might be a great perspective to bring from an inclusion thinking is, what's the diversity of staff and the student body, the curriculum experiences, how you recruit and where you recruit, and the diversity of engagement and who's being considered leaders or folks that we're highlighting both as staff as well as students. Because at the end of the day, people look to see people that look like them. And if they don't see people that look like them, they don't feel that they have the opportunity to do it. And I've seen that in every part of the world, in every company that I've worked with. So that's a snapshot of how I think about the work and some of the things that we're doing at Mastercard. One is that from a student perspective, I think you should build both deep and wide relationship circles. And don't just hang around people that look like you or come from your suburb or come from your church or come from your perspective of life and living. What I've found is that the more diverse your network is, the more opportunities and experiences you will have that you never thought would happen. This experience right here, I would have never had unless I was crashing on Hoyt's office, trying to pull myself together to go back out to my cube and do my job. But we've built a relationship, and so it's one of those things you never know where an opportunity might land. When you make up in your mind that you want to be successful and a positive force in the world, the universe will bring people in your life to make it happen. I can't explain how that happens, but I do know that it happens. When you're given a business or a school opportunity that is outside of your comfort zone, that's where the work starts, and that's what you should do. Because those things will actually shape the person that you are as a leader as well as just a person. Here's a fun one. When your boyfriend or girlfriend threatens you or says they don't want to support your career goals and objectives and things like that you want, let them leave, or you leave them, because it'll create room for the right person in your life. I can't explain that more. Oh, you got some snaps back there for that one. Okay. I must have hit home for somebody. Okay. And finally, when you graduate from college and have gotten through your first real job and someone asks you to give an encouraging word to one of your Carthage brothers or sisters, or just not even, just someone that needs an encouraging word, do it. Because the positive seeds that you sow into their lives will reap a great harvest in yours. Thank you.